Hey guys, how's it going? I thought I'd make a video kind of catching you up on some vehicles. As some people ask from time to time about particular cars and trucks I've had since I've been on YouTube. So I thought I would just do that in this video. I'm kind of going off the cuff. I don't have any notes written down. I'm going to have to just try to remember it. So um, let's start out with the '05 Taurus you saw in one of my early videos, the wrecked Taurus. That car started out, it wasn't wrecked. I bought that car in 2009, I guess it was. Yeah, it was 2009, and it was in excellent condition. It had about 75,000 miles on it, and a lady, I had it about a month and a half, and the lady pulled across in front of me and wiped the front end out on it. And so I had kind of put it back together, but it had really taken a whack, so the insurance virtually paid it off. So it did like $5,000 worth of damage to it. So I just kind of stuck it back together enough to drive it and sold it via eBay, and it went to somebody in over in Joplin, Missouri, I think. He came and picked it up and I think drove it home. And then let's see, there's the Roadmaster, the white Roadmaster wagon. You saw that one in some of the early videos. That's the one me and Uncle Phil took to Florida and back. Some glare going on here. What is that? Like I got a Terminator eye there. It's weird. But that wagon, I ended up selling it on eBay, and it went to Delaware. The people flew in and picked it up at the airport and drove it back. So that was a pretty good car, but that was one of the early ones. I had a 305 in it. 91s only had 305 TBI 305s in it, so it was really a slow car, and it was not equipped to tow really anything. It was doing good to tow itself around, so I liked it well enough, but it wasn't that great of a car, you know, as far as doing anything but just cruising. So and it had a little bit of a blow-by issue, so it was going through some oil. It seems to be a trend now. So that's where it went. The gray Isuzu iMark. That car had some title problems, and I could never get a title for it here, so I sold it as is for parts on eBay, and somebody came from Florida and bought it on eBay and took it back home with them, and that's where it's at now. They bought it. Of course, they didn't buy it to you know, part out. They bought it. I guess they were going to do what they needed to do to get a title for it. Let's see, the brown 75 Duster, that car got parted out. You saw that one. The green Malibu got parted out. Some of the parts from it went on the blue Malibu coupe, which I sold. I had a real hard time selling that car, even though it was a Malibu coupe. It needed a lot of body work. It ran okay, drove okay, but it needed a lot of body work, so that's where it went. In retrospect, I should have just left the green Malibu in one piece, but I easily sold the engine and transmission out of that Malibu. That was that green one, the 305. That was an easy sell. The blue, I guess that car's black. What was it, black? The black Grand Prix, I sold it locally. I guess I should have kept that car. I liked it pretty well. It was just kind of rough. It needed a lot of work, so it went on down the road. The red Protege, the 99 that I had, the $500 one, I put the timing belt on and did all those videos. Sold it locally in late 2012. I never have seen it again. I don't know what happened to it. That was for one thing, that was one of the best car deals I've ever made, and that was one of the stupidest things to do to ever sell that car. I have yet to have as good of a car as that one since then, and believe me, I've tried. The 99 Regal, the blue one, the supercharged one, that car, like I said, I kept it for a while and did some repairs on it, and that was just, I really didn't like that car. It had a nice engine in it, and it ran good, but the rest of the car just underwhelmed me totally. It was like aluminum with a powerful engine in it, and that's, you know, I can tell you something, when you get in a nice car that's built good, you can tell that that one wasn't. All the, excuse me, all the trim that was bending up on it, coming apart, and stuff didn't work. Just that's the thing. I got that '98 Infiniti out there that's got twice as many miles on it, and it's a year older than that Buick, and it had none of those problems. It has none of those problems. Everything works on the car, so that's BS. All that stuff about they just have those problems. Well, they just have those problems if you buy a cheap GM like that. They do. That's what you get. So that car went away. I sold it locally on Craigslist, and the guy that lives over in a town across the mountain over here bought it, and he paid me to fix the supercharger coupler on it. That's what that rattling was. The black '99 Protege I had after that, I didn't keep that car very long. That was I didn't care for that car as well as I did the red one, because it was a base model. It's just like the one my brother drives. He's got one also, but it just I didn't like not having cruise, all that. So I sold it locally. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, the '97 Isuzu Rodeo. Uncle Phil owns that now. Uncle Phil's still driving that. It's not had hardly any problems at all with it. It's got about 100 and I think he said it's got about 180,000 miles, just over 180,000 miles on it. And it had 165 on it when I bought it from the pawn shop, or the title pawn place up there. Let's see. Let me think here. The Chevy Caprice coupe I had that I totally failed at fixing the engine on. Uncle Phil owns that also, and Uncle Phil, get this, Uncle Phil got it fixed and it's running. He's left it parked all winter because it still needs the timing chain gasket, or the timing cover gasket, or the front seal or something is bad on it, so it's throwing oil out. So he's got to go back into it and do a little bit more work, but I have actually heard that car run since he got it back together, and it runs good. So we'll hopefully be making a video on that car when it warms up. So the blue '93 Ford F-250, I sold it back in October. Got a lot of good use out of that truck, and I like that truck pretty well. I'll tell you something's interesting though. Your perception of things over the years kind of changes. I had one of those trucks back in 2006, I guess it was, and I thought that truck was just awesome back then. And then the second time around, I had this other one, which it ran better than the first one. But it just struck me now. I was like, man, this truck's kind of underpowered, and it rides so rough, and nothing just makes any difference to anybody who owns a truck really. But I guess I just noticed that. But that truck was getting a little tired, and I tend to kind of sell out things before they start nickel and diming me too much. And that truck was going to need a clutch. It was almost out of clutch, and it was starting to go through some oil a little bit. When I'd pull a mountain with it, especially if I had a load on the back of it, pulling a trailer or something like that, it would blow oil out. Like I don't know if it was coming out of the PCV system or what it was doing, but it was starting to blow some oil. So I just felt like the time was right to go ahead and find it a home, And so I've actually been without a truck since then. I've been using that wagon out there for my hauling needs, and it's been doing pretty well. The '99 Volvo from hell, I hope I don't ever own one of those again. And let me expound on that a little bit. The 98s and older Volvos, they're not near as electronically involved as the 99s and up ones. So 98's not a scary one to have and on down. That ain't the scary one. That's got the regular old throttle body and the not so vigilant security system. So I just got a bad year. I just bought it and didn't know any better. So I wouldn't say down the road I might not have a 98 or older, but no 99's up. No. So I sold it and lost a little piece of my ass on it. But That was a lesson learned. Don't touch one of those. What else? The 68 Fury convertible is 68 Fury convertible is out here in the garage. It's next in line after the Dart to get up and running. The 73 Valiant is outside. Still have it. The 74 Valiant. Let's talk about that real quick. That one, I drove it, a good part of the summer, and then all of a sudden the transmission started failing on it. And it's just kind of one of those deals where, those cars, here's the thing with it. It had rust in it. It had repaired rust in it. And you kind of have to make a decision when you start having a major problem with it, like a transmission. You have to decide which way you're going to go with it. And I had just decided I was not going to put transmission in it. I was going to drive it as long as it ran and drove good, and that's what I did. And so when it got where it was going to be unreliable and starting to be unreliable, that was, so even though at first I had a real hard time making that decision, I took some of the parts off that car, the good parts, to use on this Dart out here. Some of them are really hard to find, like the dash pad and stuff like that, the dash trim. I mean, the parts I took off of it and saved for myself probably are worth more than what I gave for the car in its entirety. So I sold the car, what was left, which it was all together, just minus some things. It was a running, rolling car for almost what I paid for it to a guy from Indiana, and he was going to, well, not to make anybody feel bad, he was going to do what he wanted with it. So that's all, If it'd been a two-door Skip, and I'll tell you something, guys, I get as pissed off as anybody else when I hear people say, well, if it was a two-door, I'd do this. Yeah, if it was a two-door, well, too bad. Well, I don't believe that, but the economic realities of the old car hobby kind of dictate sometimes that you just can't if you have a limited amount of money, you just can't throw your money at something that you're not ever going to get a return out of. So I had to make a decision. Was it going to be the Dart, the 73 Sport, or was it going to be that car? So I had to do what I had to do. So, but of course the 63 O's, you see where it's at. It's in storage. It's funny. All these cars I've bought and sold, that one I have not even ever contemplated ever selling that car because, I just like it. I mean, when I think of the 60s, I like 60s stuff and 60s cars and 60s music. And when I think of that car, even just looking at it like it is now, just puts me square right in the era, man. It's just a good vibe from it. So, I don't know when I'll ever get to that anytime soon, but I don't plan on selling it anytime soon. I'm trying to think here if I've missed anything. Oh yeah, the 2000 Honda. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I missed both Hondas. The 2000 Honda that you just saw a while back in videos. That car, I just didn't like it too well. It just, it just didn't. It just wasn't comfortable. It rode kind of harsh, and it was using oil. Like I said, that seems to be a trend now. It used oil. The 99 Regal used oil. The 205 Honda used oil. What is it these days? The cars using oil. So anyway, and it was the 2000 Accord was at the end of its clutch also, and I've already done one clutch on that Suzuki that I still have, by the way. I already done one clutch on it, and I'm not in the mood to do another one. So I sold it and bought this Infiniti out there for like $500 less than what I got for the Honda, so that was a good deal. And the 2005 Honda, that was another car that if I had thought about it more than I did, I should have kept, because that was a nice car. Those are really nice cars. I liked it. It was a little rough, had some beat up bumpers, and the air conditioner was not working on it, and the radio worked on it when it wanted to. So I sold it for the guy off Craigslist and gave him a good deal on it. Probably too good, but seems to be the way it goes these days. Oh yeah, the '73 Mercedes. I really liked that car. I really liked the '73 Mercedes. As far as just driving it around, it was a really neat car to drive. It had a really, 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 really tired engine in it. I don't know how many miles that engine had on it. It was kind of a struggle to get it started when it was cold. And like I said, there was just a few things. I had good plans. I said I was going to drive that car just everywhere I went. And the reality of it is that those cars were good cars for driving in the city and driving, in the country where you don't have to be pushed to go fast, stuff like that. But they've got like a 4-something rear gear in a 392 or a 4-something rear gear in them, gear ratio in them. Is that 4-speed, man? That thing is tacked out like at 65 miles an hour, and so you always kind of felt like you're just killing the thing, just trying to drive at 65 miles an hour, and then down here, you just get run over, and it was going through a whole lot of oil, like about a quart every 300 miles. So it was running through oil, which that didn't bother me that much. But the only thing that did bother me was during the winter, I was afraid that I was going to get somewhere and be in somewhere working all day, and it'd be frigid cold, and I'd come out and couldn't get it started. So that kind of took the fun out of it a little bit, because it had a heater on it. It had a block heater, and it worked good, and it'd start right up with the block heater plugged in. But if I'm sitting in a parking lot someplace and there's no plug, I can't plug it in. So you just this is there again. I had to make a decision what I was going to do with my money. So a guy came along and wanted it, and paid me what I wanted for it. So it's up in Tennessee somewhere. I might get another one eventually if one comes along, but I try to experience everything I can in this life, and so that's why I swap around vehicles a lot. I'm not one of those people that kind of hangs on to stuff, on and on and on. Some stuff I do, but not always. So I think that's got us caught up, guys. Oh yeah, the Blazer. The Blazer got sold 3 or 4 months ago to a young guy. His friend had one just like it, so he wanted it. He gave me exactly what I wanted for it. So the Blazer was nice. The Blazer was okay, but the Blazer was really, it looked better than it was. Let's put it that way. It had a little bit of a head gasket leak in it, and it had been whacked in the front end hard. So I could tell when you drive a lot of vehicles and you drive some that are straight and some that are not straight anymore, you know right away which ones are not straight anymore. So that's all I need to say about that. So it was ready to find a new home. So we'll see down the road. We'll see what I get. But so far, I like the Infiniti out there. It's a nice car. Well, it's a nice car. So I hope that's caught us up on everything. So you guys can watch through this, and maybe that'll answer your questions. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to post them. I might answer them, I might not. Nah, I'm just kidding, guys. I'll answer your questions. Be glad to have them. So take care, guys. We'll see you in the next time. Bye.